It's fall and I have been feeling the Halloween vibes. So here's the tutorial for how I made this DIY boho Halloween wreath. So I started with a 22-inch wreath I found from Home Goods, but I'll add alternative links in the description. Then I headed to my craft store and grabbed some faux leaves, cut those off the stems, and then started adding them around the wreath. As I was doing this, I realized they're a little bit darker than what I wanted, so I grabbed some spray paint I had on hand and did just a very light mist just to lighten them just a little bit. Then I got my hot glue gun and started applying them all the way around the wreath. Be sure when doing this to glue in the leaves really well, because a lot of your other elements will be glued on top of or to the leaves. So having those in really strong gives you a really good foundation for everything else we're going to add. So this is how it looked after the leaves were added. So between Target, the dollar store, Amazon, and the craft store, I grabbed these faux pampas leaves, these sticks, these faux rabbit tails, and also I grabbed some faux butterflies and these clip-on spiders and bats. I also grabbed some skulls from the craft store, and then I started arranging everything to try to get an idea of what exactly I wanted everything to look like. I then looked at my paints that I wanted to paint the skulls, and I ended up with these colors. I'll add links to these as well. I then got to painting, and I would suggest doing this the day before so that everything can dry properly. That took a lot of my time. It also took me 3 coats of everything to cover the skulls completely and get a really good color. So I did a white, a cool bisque color, and a terracotta color. For the white, I painted them all white to begin with, or the white skulls all white to begin with, and then I ended up adding just one little dab of that cool bisque middle color to make it not such a stark white when compared to the white berries on the wreath. After that, I played around with the placement of everything again, and then once it looked exactly the way I wanted it to, I started adding everything in and gluing it on. I wanted there to be a really big focal point on one side, so you can see that with the faux pampas grass and faux rabbit tails there. I glued on all of those grasses, and then I also glued on all of the skulls as well. So here's what it looks like after I've placed all of those. I then began to work on the placement of all the other elements, like the bats and the spiders. I also worked on the placement of the butterflies, which I think added so much to this wreath. Once everything looked the way I liked it, I started to hot glue those pieces on there as well. These butterflies are from Hobby Lobby, and they're awesome because they're attached to a wire, so they don't have to be glued on in any form, which means you can kind of move them around and they can kind of be lifted instead of being glued against another element, which just adds to the look as well. Finally, I attached these sticks I got from Target. I used hot glue. You could use floral wire, but I ended up using hot glue and it worked just fine. And that is it, guys. I am obsessed with how this turned out. I absolutely love it. It gives me the perfect Halloween vibes that I have been loving. So that is the tutorial, guys. I will have all the links to all of these products in a blog post, also in the description. If you like this wreath, or if you make one of your own, be sure to tag me at Cass Scroggins on Instagram. I'm excited to see what you come up with. Happy Halloween!